Good morning. I'm hiding behind you. I'm having to make sure the GoPro stays going. It doesn't seem to like the warm weather. At least that battery didn't like the warm weather. Said it was 70%, but kept cutting off, said it had no battery. So anyways, this morning, I got one of those kind of crooked cherry trees on there. I got two pieces cut there, and I see a lot of talk about pricing. And a lot of you guys are starting out and or haven't done it a long time. You know, what do you charge? You know, I got trees on my property that may have fallen or I want to take down for one reason or another. What can I charge for them? Say you don't want to have large piles of lumber laying around, or you don't have a place to really put them. So, what do you ask for it? That's a good question. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you or talk to you guys about what I do. And it's kind of a standard that I see across the board with a lot of people. I'm not saying it's the right way, and I'm not saying it's the absolute way, but this is how I do it, and I think a lot of other sawyers will probably agree with how we do it. So we're going to do a little bit of milling, and I'm going to take you around and show you how I sticker stuff, show you different types of cuts and what I charge for them, and whether they're green right off the stump or whether I've air dried them versus kiln dried them, you know, and then highly figured material versus straight grain. I'm just going to go through a little bit of all of that really quick in a short video. So this has kind of got it's straight, but it's got a curve to it. It had a hump in it here. I'm going to show you a couple pieces I cut. I'm going to show you why I cut them the way I did, cutting through that hump. And then we're going to go look at some other cherry pieces of the same tree that have different figures and features in it. And I'm going to explain to you why I would charge this much for this versus that much for that. And I might actually break this into a couple of different series because there's a lot to go over, and I don't want the videos to be, you know, for god awful long. You know, you guys got things to do, and you might have other people you want to watch too. So let me show you these two here. Then we'll go ahead. I can take a couple more cuts off of this before I roll it over, and then we'll go over and talk about those other pieces and why I cut them the way I did and what I'm hoping to get, and one of them we're going to cut up. And then we'll talk about the pricing and why it is what it is. So first I'm going to show you guys just two little pieces here. Now in our area, and I think probably in a lot of areas, boards like these, I make them about 1 inch. So you're going to get about 3/4 of an inch when they're dried and all that stuff. You lose about 8% on the thickness, and the length, it really just depends. You don't generally lose a lot on that. But you can kind of see the design on that. It's kind of an oval. I kind of did that with that hump. This one, not completely, it doesn't quite end. But this would be cutting boards or serving tray. This is perfect material. I have tons of people that like it, and I use a lot of it in my cutting boards, and this tree kind of has that here, this oval. So I just want to keep cutting it. I think the live edge throughout the whole board will be fine, or the whole log, excuse me. I am going to go down and do some 2 1/4 inch, maybe 4 pieces in there, just because I think it'll make some great tabletops or, you know, such things like that. With that pattern, and that will probably be mainly heartwood. So let's get to start cutting that up real quick, and then we'll get over to these other pieces that we're getting ready to work on. And I'm just going to keep you out here today. I may lift you up and bring you a little closer, I think, so you get a little better view. cold today. I think the high is supposed to be like 40. Not very warm. So all the motors are going to be a little fickle to start. I do need to knock my guides down a little bit. This is a beautiful log, and it's a little bit fur away. Fur away? Oh my God. I think I'm half frozen too, guys. I can't even talk. It's fur away. I'm trying to keep the plane the same. It's just a little ways away from it on this side. I don't want the tip on me. I've already kind of got it going. Oh yeah, it's up tight again. I'll check it as I bring the piece back. The motor, the apparatus, the power head, you know, that thing. See, show business isn't all perfect. Good. My brain has to warm up, the machine has to warm up, everything has to warm up. Now, this is a perfect example right here of what I want to show you. Why this log right here would bring more than, say, something with less figure in it. So let's get you down here and we'll talk about it real quick. Now you can see, let me get the screen up. You can see all the figure in these boards. Some knots here and there. It's got some little darker highlights in it, a knot, the curves, and all this. A lot of people would keep this piece right here. They'd probably cut it and maybe bookend it with the other one. So this would be considered medium figure in my book. So I would sell one of these, and I've done it for guys that buy a lot from me, is I'd sell them one of these boards off the mill like right now for $20. You know, I just kind of look at the size, look at it, look at the grain, look at the quality of the wood. There's no punkiness, it's solid, the bark's on it attached well. So I would do $20 a board for this. That one I got a little thin, I'd probably do for like $15. So that's kind of how I do it. On some of this highly figured stuff and stuff like this, but it's curved, it's hard to figure it out per board foot. You just kind of average it out. So if you want to do it that way, it's fine. It'd probably come out to about $2.50 a board foot, maybe closer to $3. But I consider this highly figured just because of the patterns and designs. So I'm going to put you on time lapse. We're going to finish this log, then we'll get another short one, and we're going to call that the end of this video. Okay, quick time lapse. Now you've seen those heels where it went up. And this is why I figured out where I wanted to cut from my first piece here. And then I came up another 1.25 inches, knowing I could get these little cuts out of where the heel comes up on each end. People love these things. A lot of times they'll put a kickstand behind them, they'll put a little clock on it or something. They build all kinds of stuff out of them. So that's really pretty. So I'd get, for a piece like that, I'd get a good 25 bucks for it. Same for the other one. That's considered kind of designer fancy. You can see the waves in it. And you're going to get that. So you'll learn how to cut this stuff so you get the most fanciest stuff out of it. So, but these sold for $20 a piece, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 there. Then that's another 50. And then these are all 1.5 inches thick. Lots of beautiful figure in it. If somebody may cut them and use that wing and this wing on a table or such and such. These right here would bring about $50 a piece. So that's 200, 250, and another 100. So that's $350 for that log. And that's a fair price. It took me probably, if I hadn't been filming, it would have taken me about maybe 20 minutes, 30 at the most. Time getting out of the woods could be a little more, but I drug this log up with 3 other sections all at one time. So I probably had 20 minutes. So say an hour's time, that's 350 bucks. So now if you dry kiln it and you go through that whole process, then you start getting up around $5 or $6 a board foot. If it's air dried, you start getting up probably close to $8 to $9 a board foot if it's kiln dried. This wood doesn't have any bugs in it. And I will tell you, from my experience with this, with all the different grains and curves and stuff, air drying is the best way to do it. You kiln dry this and it tears it apart. So, you know, it doesn't have any bugs in it. Even if you were to put it in a kiln just for a short 3 or 4 days, Get it up to 150 if you're concerned about it. A lot of people don't have kilns, so air drying is fine. Had no problem with it. Matter of fact, I find my wood is more stable if I dry it slower over a longer period of time. So let's go over here. This is going to be the next project, and you'll see it on the mill in a second. I got a couple pieces over here, so let's walk over here and check it out. And I think for today, what I'm going to do, this is a crotch log. It's going to have like a table, like feet for a table. So I'm not going to do that today. But that one right there, short, but it's got a nice branch outlet on it, and it's got a little curve to it. And when you slice through that, that's going to be very fancy lumber. So let me get this stuff out of my way. Let me get the other stuff set aside, get that log on there, and then we'll cut that up. I'll do a time lapse on it, and then I'll go back through it. We'll see what figure's in it, and I'll explain why I would charge more for that. And maybe, maybe not. We don't know what the figure is yet, but with a crotch log like that, it's probably going to have a lot of figure. It may have some curl in it. We just don't know until we go to do it, but I'm pretty sure it does. So stay tuned. We're gonna get the other log on there and bring you right back. All right, we're back. I got it situated the way I want to cut it. Now, some of you may look at that and think, oh my God, I wouldn't cut it like that. All right, for one, it has part of a split, and that was just past where the tree had gotten broken off. And I really like this knot right here. So when I cut through it, actually I'm going to get a couple cookies out of it. I'm always looking for a way to get really cool looking designs out of my lumber. And I love trees that are like this. This is my gold right here. This is what I love. So I'll get a cookie off of there. I'll cut off of this real quick, get it level. I'll get a cookie, then I'll get one that's a little longer, be oblong, which is beautiful and people love it. So I'll probably end up going down to somewhere right in here and cutting off. Not going to be a ton of wood in there, but the wood that's going to be in there with that knot and that branch is going to be beautiful. Now, some people may argue that cutting it this way, you're going to have the crotch wood here. And after I cut in through the knot, depending on how far it goes in, that is an option. But for right at first, I want to take advantage of some of that. So let me get you guys set up. We'll take some cuts and we'll process it as we go through it. You get like an oblong cookie out of it. So great for crafts. So let me get a couple more cuts done and I'll bring you back. All right, this is what we get out of those boards if you cut it the way I'm doing without using it as a crotch wood cut sideways. And this is going to be a lot more stable of boards than if I were to cut through and have the crotch wood in it. And these sell better. These, what I call wood spurs, where a branch spurs off the main trunk, I refer to them as wood spurs. But they sell really good. They're more stable to finish. When they dry, they don't tend to check as much. And the crotch wood, you know, can pull apart. So to me, this is a much better way to cut a log like this. It yields me more profit and better material. So let's get this cut up and we'll take a look at the whole lot of it after I get done cutting it up. All right, so cutting the log that way, in my eyes, instead of having a crotch log, I have more desirable figure and more stable material than having a crotch log that a lot of times splits open. But these, let's see if I can get out of the sun. I can't get out of the shadow here. But these right here are much more desirable by people for wood projects, and they're a lot more stable. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 larger 1-inch pieces. I say the average is about 8 inches. I got one 2-inch piece over there to make a little bench, perfect length, perfect size. Then I got some really unique oval, you know, and people like these for serving trays, excuse me, not serving trays. They like them for center placements in their table. And even these can be cut off right in here, and they make nice decorations. So out of all that, each one of these, that one when it's finished will sell for about 75 bucks. These little ones, that's probably 35, 25, 25. Each one of these, green, would sell for about 20, as much as the bigger ones because of the figure in the oval. Okay, and then this right here, this little bench, this is a perfect bench or table behind a couch or something. A perfect length, perfect size. That right there could be charcuterie boards or serving trays, etc. So this right here, if I sold it straight out, it would be sold for 50 bucks. That right there would be sold for another $10, 10 to 15, and then these straight, where the grain goes straight through, they'd be about the same. That one has an hourglass look on it, and it's got some damage on the side, so that'd be just bring like 10 bucks. So there's every bit of probably close to a couple $100 here. So just out of these 2 logs, that's $550. You didn't see the main trunk, or actually you did see me cut it up, and that is beautiful, straight, perfect grain material. Still got 2 more big logs over there to cut up, and one of them has a cherry burl. So I figured, get you up here, I figured that lumber over there was going to bring about $850 once it's air dried. I'd probably sell it for half of that now. So now you're at $550, $950. There's easily another $300 to $500 worth of material over there. So you're talking, what, $1,100, $1,200 for that tree. And some of the prices were a little higher because it was finished. Maybe some of this will be finished. If a logger logged it from you, they get you anywhere from 63 cents a board foot to maybe $1 if they figure it as high figure, and that's the kind of stuff they get into. Or a mill bought it that does high figured material, they may give you more. So I don't know, you know, is a mill worth having or not? You decide. But that's kind of how we sell things. That's the prices I get, and that's a straight up no argument. I have no problem selling it. Could I use the price a little higher, sit a little longer on it? Yes, probably. But in our area, there's a lot of cherry trees, and there's a lot of other mill people who do milling. So that kind of affects it too. You can only get so much, just very competitive. Now, if you're out somewhere where there's not a lot of cherry trees and it's a higher demand, you can get more price for it. So I hope that kind of helps some of you guys. I see on the Wood Miser site that we post on Facebook and stuff, I see a lot of people asking, they're new into it. So that's my and only my opinion and how I sell it. And we do very good. And there are other sawyers around in the area, but we're very competitive. We try to keep stuff straightforward with people. We have a lot of repeat business from a lot of crafters in the area, and it works for them, it works for me. I'm happy and they're happy, so that's what matters. So I hope this helped. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you on the next video.